Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. This time we're going back to the 16-bit era, and the game I'm going to talk to you about is X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is a side-scrolling beat-em-up that was released by Capcom in 1994, and if you ask me, it is pretty much the first good X-Men game ever released for a Nintendo system. So pretty much I'm going to show you how to fully complete this game. Now with this game, it is fairly straightforward. You can pretty much complete it in between an hour or two. But there are a few things you have to watch out for in terms of actually completing this game. So I'm going to show you how to complete X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. So let's get to it. So guys, here is the startup screen. Right now we have three choices. We have Mission Mode, which is the main playthrough of the game. Training Mode, which allows us to play the first set of levels in the game, all depending on which X-Men character you select. And the Password option that lets you go to certain points of the game after you finish the first 5 levels. Here is the Stage Select menu. In order to progress through the game, we must beat the stage that is assigned to each member of the X-Men. We have 2 lives per X-Men character, but if one of your X-Men loses both of his or her lives during the first 5 introductory levels, the game is over. It is very important to take any opportunity to gain any extra lives, since it will be incredibly helpful when trying to fully complete this game. So the first level I'm going to do is Psylocke's level. In each of the 5 introductory levels there are 3 X icons you can obtain. Some of them can be very easy to obtain, while others can be a little difficult. If you obtain all 3 X icons, that specified character will gain a free life. Here is the first X icon in Psylocke's stage. Here is the second X icon in Psylocke's stage. And finally, here is the third X icon in Psylocke's stage, which can be a little tricky. At the end of each character's introductory stage, you get to fight the stage boss. As I'm fighting the stage boss, just remember that when you play the other X-Men introductory levels to always keep an eye out for those X icons. Once all 5 introductory levels are completed, you'll be provided with your first password of the game. This will help you if for any apparent reason you get killed anywhere after the first 5 levels. Unfortunately, if you do use a password, you won't be able to see the extra ending, so you pretty much have to complete the game on your first playthrough. As you progress through the game, there are 2 more levels in which you can get more X icons that will help you get more free lives throughout the game. These 2 levels actually have a total of 5 X icons, but you only need to get 3 of them to actually get a free life. Getting the other 2 X icons for a total of 5 doesn't really do anything specific. The 2 levels in which you can obtain these 5 X icons are the Genosha 4 stage, in which the Queen Brood is the boss. The other level is the Apocalypse level, in which you fight Apocalypse as the stage boss. Try to keep a safe distance from him and attack him once he unleashes his attack first, and you shouldn't have much trouble with this boss fight. Once you defeat Apocalypse, you discover that Magneto is the true mastermind. Before you go to the last level of the game, you have to fight 2 popular X-Men villains in the Danger Room. The first villain is Omega Red, which I would recommend Cyclops or Gambit to fight him because they have long-range attacks. Omega Red can damage you quite severely if you decide to get in close when you fight him. The second villain is Juggernaut, which I would recommend using Wolverine. Wolverine has an attack that makes this fight insanely easy, which you'll see me demonstrate here. You perform the attack by pressing forward attack button. By using this specific attack pattern, you can pretty much beat Juggernaut without getting hit. We're back to the Stage Select menu, in which one thing you have to make sure before you fight Magneto as the final boss is that all of your X-Men have to be alive when you beat Magneto. It is still possible to complete the final stage even if some of your X-Men are dead, but you won't get the extra ending. The final level for each X-Men will be different. In the final level, about halfway through the level, you get to fight Exodus. Exodus will disappear once you knock out half of his life. Once Exodus has been defeated, you can then progress through the rest of the level until you fight the stage boss. The stage boss will also be different, all depending on which X-Men character you've selected. The stage boss for the Wolverine level is actually one of the easiest. Once that boss has been defeated, you go directly to Magneto with a full health bar. Even if you lose to Magneto, which I suggest you do, I'll explain in a moment, as long as you have extra lives for Wolverine, you can fight Magneto again. You don't have to go through the final stage, but you go directly to Magneto, and if you did any damage to Magneto, his life bar will remain where it left off at the end of the last battle. The reason you should die when you fight Magneto for the first time is that in order to consider this game truly completed, you should make the extra effort to do the final stage for each X-Men character. It is not really necessary, you still get the extra ending as long as all of your X-Men characters are alive. If you decide to complete the final stage for the rest of the X-Men characters, you'll be happy to know that you'll only have to fight Exodus one more time to deplete the last half of his health bar. The last stage for the other 3 X-Men characters, you won't have to fight Exodus at all because he'll be dead. As you progress through the rest of the final stages, one item you should pick up is a free life icon with a random X-Men character on it. I would suggest waiting for the icon to show Psylocke's or Cyclops' face, since those two have the most difficult final stage bosses in my opinion. Once you beat the final stage bosses for each of the X-Men characters, keep losing to Magneto until all the X-Men final stages are completed. This is the reason why I stress that you should take any opportunity to pick up as many free lives as possible. It'll make it easier, especially to finish all the final stages, since you're going to lose 1 life anyway, losing to Magneto. Once the final stages are completed, any X-Men character you select will go directly to Magneto. Then you can finally beat him to obtain the true ending of the game. I would suggest using Wolverine or Psylocke, since those are the 2 characters that will have the easiest time with this fight. The only other bit of key advice I can provide is take the time to learn each of the X-Men's different types of attacks, since they can definitely be helpful as you progress through the game. Once you beat Magneto, you'll get a different line of text, all depending on the X-Men character that beat him. If all of your X-Men characters are alive, you get to see the extra bit at the ending, which involves cameos of other X-Men characters such as Jean Grey, Storm, Rogue, Bishop, and Jubilee, welcoming back the rest of the team. So there we have it, guys. We have now successfully completed X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. It is a fairly straightforward game, but in order to fully complete it, we have to watch out for the final set of levels. So just remember to avoid using passwords and to make sure that all of your X-Men members are alive when you beat the final boss. So anyway, guys, if you do like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, other excellent platforming games from Capcom I can definitely recommend. Just give me a second. Are Aladdin for the SNES. Excellent game, but it does have a good amount of difficulty in it. And my personal favorite platformer by Capcom of all time, and that is The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. So anyway, guys, if you like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, I highly recommend you try those 2 games. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching another episode of The Completionist, and take care. And I wish you nothing but the best.